Good afternoon. My name is Damien, the tall, friendly atheist dad, host of the Tall, Friendly Atheist Dad podcast. Wherever you are, whatever time of day it is, I hope you're well. And if you're not well, I hope the next half hour or so gives you a few laughs. As I read through I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist by Norman Geisler and Frank Turek.
So far from lies and hypocrisy, with thirst to energy, and silence becomes brave. Don't ask me the reason why. Just say I only dream in black and white. Future's nothingness, but I can choose another end. Open in my eyes, and you begin in my life. Without emptiness to feel, I am sure of myself. No mercy until the end.
Hello, good afternoon. I am Damien, the tall, friendly atheist dad, host of the Tall, Friendly Atheist Dad podcast. And yeah, if you haven't checked out the podcast, check out the podcast. The podcast is awesome because I said so. And anyone who doesn't think the podcast is awesome is have just been paid by God to say it's not awesome because Yes, blasphemy already straight from there. But anyway, yes. So this is part 21 of An Atheist Reads. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. That atheist in particular is me, because I am an atheist. That's I don't believe God exists. I don't believe such things as gods exist, either singular or plural. There you go. How's that for blasphemy? And on the screen is 16 driving downtown San Francisco 4K USA from a channel called Vivo Express. And I'm going to leave a... He hasn't anyone like his video. He's only 18 views and no one's liked his video. Well, your luck is about to change, buddy. Bang. I'm your very first like. You like that? Oh, yes. I bet you do. I bet you do. Oh, this is bad apologetics morning. I've just been reading Bible Defense of Slavery by Reverend Josiah Priest. And yeah, there's some bad apologetics. And speaking of bad apologetics, Frank Turek, who has to be one of the worst modern day apologists going around today. And I'll say that with a straight face because, Frank, I don't think Frank Turek is intellectually honest. I think he's just in it for the giggles and for something to do. Frankly, to be rationally convinced by some of the arguments that he spews out, I really don't know how. But anyway, if you don't want to just listen to my lovely voice, you can watch the lovely video on the screen. Now there you go, buddy. You can have that for a... Anyway, so I'm currently on page 125 of I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. And yeah, this book was recommended to me by a guy called Theo, who, because I accept the theory of evolution and because, I accept what scientists say, oh, you got to read this book. This is the book he recommended to me. And yes, I did pay money for it. So don't think I'm pirating shit, Anyway, so we're on page 125, and this heading is... So it's in the chapter called The First Life, Natural Law or Divine Awe. And this heading is called Give Chance a Chance. So let me just make sure the sound is going to come through. Okay, there is sound. Good. Hey, I like that. That's should put the sound on earlier. Anyway, 3, 2, 1. Can all of the incredible specified complexity in life be explained by chance? Not a chance. Atheists and theists alike have calculated the probability that life could arise by chance from non-living chemicals. The figures they calculate are astronomically small, virtually zero. For example, Michael Behe has said that the probability of getting one protein molecule, which has about 100 amino acids, by chance will be the same as a blindfolded man finding one marked grain of sand in the Sahara Desert 3 times in a row. And one protein molecule is not life. To get life, you would need to get about 200 of these protein molecules together. That probability is virtually zero. But we believe the probability is actually zero. Why? Because chance is not a cause. Chance is a word that we use to describe mathematical possibilities. It has no power of its own. Chance is nothing. It's what rocks dream about. If someone flips a fair coin, what's the chance it will come up heads? 50% we say. Yes, but what causes it to come up heads? Is it chance? No. The primary cause is an intelligent being who decided to flip the coin and apply so much force in doing so. Secondary causes, such as the physical forces of wind and gravity, also impact the result of the flip. If we knew all those variables, we could calculate how the flip would turn out beforehand. But since we don't know those variables, we use the word chance to cover our ignorance. We shouldn't allow atheists to cover their ignorance with the word chance. If they don't know a natural mechanism by which the first life could have come into existence, then they should admit that they don't know, rather than suggesting a powerless word that, of course, really isn't a cause at all. Chance is just another example of the bad science practiced by Darwinists. Oh, Frank, them's be fighting words. Let's get some more Victim of Illusion on. And yes, the music you hear playing is from the band Victim of Illusion. Get their album Invisible Light from victimovillusion.bandcamp.com and support independent music artists for a very reasonable price, you know. So anyway, yes, I do find it. Actually, I am more than happy to say I don't know. Yes, I'll agree. Yeah, I do not know how the first molecules of life came about. However, the people that study such things for a living have all, they very, very rarely do they go, it was a god, specifically the god of the Bible. Oh boy. So, my first point of umbrage here is his line here. Can all the incredible specified complexity in life be explained by chance? Well, what is specified complexity? I think, from my understanding, specified complexity was the idea that... Actually, let me just get... I'm going to Google it. Okay. Specified? There it is there. Okay. Specified complexity is a creationist argument introduced by William Dembski, used by advocates to promote the pseudoscience of intelligent design. The concept can formalize a property that singles out patterns that are both specified and complex. Where in Dembski's terminology, a specified pattern is one that emits short descriptions. Okay, hold on. Let's see what... okay. In brief, living organisms are distinguished by their specified complexity. Crystals are usually taken as the prototypes of simple, well-specified structures because they consist of a very large number of identical molecules packed together in a uniform way. Lumps of granite or random mixtures of polymers are examples of structures that are complex, but not specified. The crystals fail to qualify as living because they lack complexity. The mixture of polymers fail to qualify because they lack specificity. Okay. So I'm just trying to find like a decent. But yeah, it's the idea that things have specific information and they're complex, which that has been blown out of the water a few different ways by different arguments. Because I'm just reading from the Wikipedia page, and yeah, there's a lot of anyway, that's won't get into that. That's not really my field of expertise, but like I'll happily say I don't know how life formed, but to say we don't know how life formed, therefore God, therefore a specific God, and this God has a son, and if you don't believe in that son, you'll go to hell. That's where I take umbrage. But yeah, my next point of umbrage is his very liberal quoting of Professor Michael Behe. Now, I cannot help but think that Professor Michael Behe has an agenda. You can come in. I'm still recording, but that's all right. This is pre-recorded anyway. And I will refer to, I think, episode 20 of the Tall Friend of the Atheist. No, episode 30, I think it was, of the Tall Friend of the Atheist podcast, where I interviewed Glenn Branch from the National Centre for Science Education, where we went over the Kitzmiller versus Dover trial. And yeah, let's just say that Professor Behe got roasted on the witness stand. Part of it was that Behe essentially admitted that he had ignored almost all of the scientific literature that countered his specific point of view. That I think the argument was the immune system, and so I think Behe was saying that there's no way that the immune system could come by evolution. And I think what was described as judicial theatre, someone stacked up like all these books in front of Michael Behe, and they're all on the topic that he says evolution. Like they're all evolution, like books about evolution and research papers about evolution, and they stacked them up in front of him. And this is all the stuff that he ignored, and this is actually put in the judgment of the trial as well. So yeah, so when a creationist cites another creationist, look, you can cite creationists, but you have to be clear about your agenda. And so you can't claim that you're trying to present a strong case when you quote people who are on record as not being able to defend their position. And this book was written back in. Pardon me, sorry. I just want to see when this book was written. 2004, yes. So this was just before, because I think the Kitzmiller versus Dover trial was in 2005. So yeah, it's good one, Frank. Good one. And as I said before, it's not so much random chance, but it's more the boundary conditions that you have. And yeah, so I'm just trying to think of a good way to put it. But yeah, if you have the right boundary conditions, then you can actually get some decent levels of complexity. And and the thing you have to think about is in this universe, there are, let's say, 10 billion galaxies, each with 10 billion stars, and those stars all have 10 planets each. And we've been here for 13 point something billion years. That is a lot of time and a lot of chemistry sets with which to be able to, make things happen. So yeah, and we already know of the autocatalytic properties of certain molecules and all that kind of stuff. But most important of all, amino acids have been found on comets from outer space. So what people like William Dembski and Michael Behe and Frank Turek say cannot happen at all happens in outer space. Gotta love creationists. Well, gotta love creationists because they're giving me something to do. Well, I'd much rather be out there, doing other stuff rather than having to counter creationist pseudoscience and bad apologetics. Yes, but I will actually agree with him on one point. Chance is not an explanation. That's fine. I agree. Chance is not an explanation. But his last line here is, we shouldn't allow atheists to cover their ignorance with the word chance. Well, I'll agree with that if we shouldn't allow theists to cover their ignorance with the word God. Yeah, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, Frank. And, you can't, yeah. But I just can't help but think this is just really bad. Like, I was exposed to Norman Geisler's apologetics before I was exposed to Frank Turek's. And, yeah, I've got to say that neither of them, neither of them are intellectually honest. I'll say that much. So yeah, we shouldn't allow theists to cover the ignorance of the word chance, but to me only if theists don't get to cover their ignorance with God did it. It was a miracle. Fuck that. And if they don't know a natural mechanism by which the first life could have come into existence, they should admit they don't, rather than suggesting a powerless word that of course really isn't a cause. I would then say is if you don't know how oil is extracted out of the ground, you shouldn't be driving a car. Yeah, you shouldn't complain about the price of petrol. There's all this, there's lots of things that we don't know, but the people who do know, I should say to Frank Turek, hey mate, if you don't know how to get oil out of the ground, you shouldn't complain that oil is so expensive. If you think oil is so expensive, go get some of your own from the ground. If you don't know how to get it out of the ground and refine it, mate, you should just, shut up. No, I'm not going to say, I wouldn't say shut up to Frank. But yeah, it's just interesting that chance is another example of bad science practice by Darwinists, which of course got slammed in Kitzmiller versus Dover. The Christian judge that was appointed by George W. Bush ruled against the creationists. That's all you need to know. That's like that is yeah. And we've learnt since then that there are many discoveries that confirm the theory of evolution. It's and I'll say Forrest Valkai is one of the best science educators on the YouTube, on the Tube of You. So go check him out. He actually explains some things really good. And Jackson Waite. I'll say Jackson Waite. Anyway, this next heading, I'll go for another 10-15 minutes or so. This next heading is called Science is a Slave to Philosophy. 3, 2, 1. Unfortunately, Darwinists have... Oh, hold on. Shivers. I forgot to... There you go. Unfortunately, Darwinists have been successful in convincing the public that the only bad science is that which disagrees with Darwinism, and that really isn't science at all, they say. It's just religion masquerading as science. In fact, the exact opposite is true. It's the Darwinists who are practicing the bad science because their science is built on a false philosophy. In effect, it's their secular religion of naturalism that leads them to ignore the empirically detectable scientific evidence for design. What lessons can we learn from the bad science of the Darwinists? To answer that, let's look at more of the debate we cited in Chapter 3 between William Lane Craig, a Christian, and Darwinist Peter Atkins. Recall that the debate was over the existence of God. At one point, Atkins argued that God wasn't necessary because science could explain everything. There is no need for God, declared Atkins. Everything in the world can be understood without needing to evoke a God. You have to accept that one's possible view to take about the world. Sure, that's possible, Craig admitted, but, interrupting, do you deny that science can account for everything? Challenged Atkins. Yes, I do deny that science can account for everything, said Craig. So what can't it account for? Demanded Atkins. A veteran of many debates, Craig was ready with a multifaceted answer. I think there are a good number of things that cannot be scientifically proven, but we are all rational to accept, he said. Craig then cited these 5 examples of rational beliefs that cannot be proven by science. Mathematics and logic. Science can't prove them because science presupposes them. metaphysical truths, such as there are minds that exist other than my own. Ethical judgments. You can't prove by science that the Nazis were evil because morality is not subject to the scientific method. Aesthetic judgments. The beautiful, like the good, cannot be scientifically proven, and ironically, science itself. The belief that the scientific method discovers truth can't be proven by the scientific method itself. More on this below. Alright. This is... Oh boy, if... I think I've actually seen that clip as well, and it's used by excitable Christians to go, look at William Lane Craig destroying the atheists! Fuck that. Seriously. Okay, unfortunately, Darwinists have been successful in convincing the public that the only bad science one disagrees with Darwinism. Actually, no. We are actually now on what we call the... what was it called? There's actually a term for it. The synthetic theory. So it's basically a combination of Darwinist mechanisms and also let me just see, because I'm going to try to bring the book up, because I've actually got the book is actually called Evolution Volume. Where is it? Pardon me, sorry. Waiting for my iPad to load it up. The Encyclopedia of Evolution. Let me just bring it up and I'll... But yeah, so no, it's not that... So again, this is obviously a straw man of evolution, but there are many competing theories in the field of biology about how things came to be how they are now. So it's not just Darwinism or bust. Yeah, there are actually multiple theories out there, and this is one way that science is driven, is by multiple theories. But you could Frank Turek can make that same argument about the round Earth. You know, unfortunately, round Earthers have been successful in convincing the public that the only bad science is that which disagrees with the round Earthism. You know, you can, like, at what point do you accept that something is true and the other things that are the opposite of it are false? You know, if I was a physics teacher in a university, and you know, and I was teaching a flat Earth, you know, I would expect to lose my job. You know, if I was teaching in a medical school, and you know, if I was teaching in a medical school, and I was teaching that bloodletting or sacrificing to a particular deity were the ways to cure diseases, I would expect to lose my job. I don't know how Frank can't see that. It's okay. Major transitions in evolution. But yeah, so they're actually sorry to you know, where was it? Yes, I'm just trying to find exactly where I'm reading the Encyclopedia of Evolution by Mark Pagel, and yeah, it's actually okay. No, I can't find it. But basically, I think they call it the hybrid synthesis or something, because they've actually, like, what they've worked out is that not all evolution is Darwinian. You know, there are different things that happen, and oh man, I'm just trying to find what it was called. Sorry, but okay. Let me see if I can do a word search on this. It's a bit of a bad PDF. Okay. Well, let's see what we get. Anyway, yeah, so no, like, yeah, so that's a bad line from Frank, because hey, it's a bad line from Frank. It's their secular religion of naturalism that leads them to ignore the empirically detectable scientific evidence for design. And guess what? That got challenged in court, and it failed. Specified complexity and irreducible complexity have been debunked in the scientific literature, and yeah, just the idea that things are complex, therefore God. Come on, Frank. Come on, Norman. I would expect better from two grown adults than to go, it's really complex. You don't know how it started. Therefore, God. Therefore, this God had a son. You must worship this son. Otherwise, you're gonna be tortured. Gotta love. Okay, let me see if I can find. Okay, it might just be this PDF can't search. Can't search words, but all right, that's fine. That's fine. Now, I haven't seen this debate between Craig and Atkins, but mathematics and logic, no, but they're not. Science can't account. I think here that Craig has taken the word everything and gone everything. It's like, whereas I would say everything as in like things that can be naturally explained. That's what I'd say is everything. But yeah, William Lane Craig goes, science can't explain mathematics and logic. Well, no, because mathematics and logic are just tools that we use to describe the world. But we can prove that they hold. We can prove that they work, and we use them because they work. If we, if we had a mathematical formula that suddenly didn't work, we would get a new one that's even better. And logic is just rules of thought that we have made up. It's like, you can't prove that computers work. Something like that. We made computers to work because, like, that's what we needed it for. It's utility. Metaphysical truths, such as there are minds that exist other than my own. Only if you're a solipsist into solipsism, but, I believe there are minds other than my own because I interact with them every day. I have a wife and kids, and I interact with them every day, and they have their own minds. Even if you wanted to say that this is the Matrix, those kids still are independent entities from me, and so they still have minds of their own. It's that their minds may be controlled by this supercomputer, but they still have minds of their own. From my viewpoint. Number 3 on Craig's list of killer atheist talking points. Ethical judgments. You can't prove by science that the Nazis were evil because morality is not subject to the scientific method. Actually, I would say if we look at psychiatry and psychology and sociology, we could actually make that judgment scientifically, because if we look at pain, if we look at heartbreak, we look at stress, we look at health outcomes, we look at lifespan, we look at depression scales. Yeah, there are numerous ways that we can quantify how people are feeling. And I'm sure that being stuck in a concentration camp in cold Europe is a lot worse than being on a beach in sunny Australia. I'll say. Fourth one, aesthetic judgments. They're beautiful, like the good, cannot be scientifically proven. Yes and no, because I think there are ways we can scientifically evaluate beauty. There are. If there wasn't, then we wouldn't have $1 billion industry dedicated to it. And then I'm about to sneeze. Sorry about that. And then William Lane Craig's last point. Science itself. The belief that the scientific method discovers truth can't be proven by the scientific method. Don't give two hoots, actually, because science is just science is two things. Science is a tool, and it's a collection of knowledge. So science can be proved by I don't know what he means. I have to see what he does by that. But if you're trying to dismiss science as as a useful tool for finding out answers about the natural world. So every step away from the scientific method is towards non-scientific methods. And if you're happy to devote your life to non-scientific methods, sure, but don't tell us that we're going to hell or that, we're morally decrepit people because we don't, follow your, follow guidance from a book written by men who wondered where the sun went at night. That's all I can say there. But anyway, so currently now on page 127, in the next reading, I'll start from, I'll start halfway through the heading titled Science is a Slave to Philosophy. I'll pull that down. Until next time. And hopefully next time I'll still be the tall, friendly atheist dad. Well, tall, friendly dad. I'm not necessarily guaranteeing my atheism. I may discover God before the next reading. But anyway, hit that. My name is Damien, the tall, friendly atheist dad. Hope you're well. Until next time, see you. Check out the podcast, check out the website, check out the, I've got things on the media, on the webs, interwebs stuff. Goodbye.
I am sure of my